What is up? Happy New Year. Welcome in. It is the BetSided Roundtable, our final early leans of the year for Week 18 in the National Football League. Ben Heisler with my guys, Ian McMillan, Donovan Smoot, Peter Dewey, and Reed Wallach. Good to have you all back again here in 2022. We will start things off with one Ian McMillan going through the NFL slate, taking a look at the Jacksonville Jaguars hosting the Indianapolis Colts in a little AFC South action to close the season. Colts 15-point favorites on the road in a place that they have not won in several years. Ian, what do you like in this game with a total of 44?
Yeah, it's week 18 in the NFL. It's an ugly week. I'm going to make an ugly bet. Jaguars plus 15 at home. Listen, anytime you bet on the Jaguars, you just kind of have to plug your nose and do it. But I'm not a believer in this Colts team, to be completely honest. 13th in yards per play. Their defense is 23rd in opponent yards per play. And one thing that I like about this matchup is that the Jaguars, since firing Urban Meyer, have increased their run play percentage over their last 3 games. And the Colts are 25th in opponent yards per carry. So are the Jaguars going to pull off the upset and win this game? No. If they do, though, I would like to see if the Chargers and Raiders are just going to take a knee every single play in the night game, just so they can both make the playoffs. But Colts will win. 15-point spread over 2 touchdowns, though, and wacky things happen in the final week of the NFL regular season. I'll take the Jaguars to keep it within 2 touchdowns here, plus 15.
Yeah, a lot of clowns are going to be in the stands going after owner Shad Khan with their decision to keep the GM around after firing Urban Meyer. Should be a lot of fun, actually, for a regular season game at the end of the season in Jacksonville. Donovan, you're up next. Your Philadelphia Eagles are at home. They are 7-point underdogs against the Dallas Cowboys in Week 18. Total fairly small in that game between the two NFC East teams at 43. You going with the hometown Eagles, or you going with the Cowboys to cover on the road this week?
I'm not going with the Cowboys in Cowboy week. I'm going with my Philadelphia Eagles. It's going to be a great week. I feel it. I feel it in here. Like, look, the Eagles. We've covered in 2 of the last. Yeah, we've covered in 2 of the last 3 games as an underdog. The Eagles also have the best rushing offense in the league. They average, close to 160 rushing yards per game, which is exactly where I think this game is going to be won. The last time these 2 teams played, the Eagles had the infamous, it was like two handoffs, 3 handoffs. They refused to run the ball last time. That's going to be very different this time. The offense as a whole starting to trend into the top 10. They're 12th in points per game. And what's really, really going to be key is they're 7th in the league in red zone touchdown scoring, right? If you can get into the red zone and put 7 on the board instead of 3, or not walk away with anything, that's going to be huge. The Cowboys, outside of playing the rest of the NFC East, Washington and the Giants, they're 1-2 against the spread as 7-point favorites. I think that the Eagles are much better than the Giants and Washington, and so they're gonna give the Cowboys an actual test, and they're not good in the spot. And also, outside of that 56-point explosion that they had again against a bad Washington team, the offenses look really, really sluggish. You saw them last week against Arizona. They were able to put the clamps on them. They only scored 22. So I think the under in this game looks pretty good, and I think Philadelphia is going to be able to grind it out and get the win.
All right, you're not the only one that's focused on the Saturday slate. Peter, I head to you next. You got the first game of the day, Saturday at 4:30 Eastern. Kansas City heads to Denver to take on the Broncos. The Chiefs have not lost to the Broncos in Denver since September of 2014. They're 10-point favorites on the road with a total of 44 in this matchup.
Yeah, I'm going to take the under on the total in this game. I don't trust the Broncos. They have 0 to play for in this game. They're done from any kind of chance of making the playoffs. Vic Fangio is probably going to get fired. They're probably going to have a new owner next year. There is no reason that the Broncos come and show up for this game. They're playing against the Kansas City team, which needs a win in order to get the 1 seed in the AFC if the Titans end up losing. But if you look at this, the Broncos, they're the best under team in the NFL this season. They've hit the under in 12 of their 16 games, and they've gone under 44 points in 11 games this season. On top of that, Drew Lock's going to probably start again at quarterback for the Broncos. They've scored 2 touchdowns in his 2 starts this year. One came on an interception that set them up at the 1-yard line. The other one came in a garbage time end of the game drive against the Chargers last week. Denver's not going to be able to score. They scored 9 points against the Chiefs with Teddy Bridgewater. I think it's going to be even worse with Locke under center. I don't think that the Chiefs are going to try and run this thing up. I think they're going to try and score quickly, get all the starters out of there, and just kind of get this game on with, and hopefully the Titans lose for them. So give me the under in this one. It's been a lock with the Broncos all year.
I felt a little sense of disappointment in your voice talking about the Broncos being the best under team this year, considering the type of weapons that they have offensively this year. I feel that. I really do, Peter. So hopefully one more game to go and you can put this season behind you. Rita, head to you next. The Cincinnati Bengals are 5.5-point dogs this week on the road at Cleveland. Bengals still have a small shot to go ahead and win the top seed in the AFC. Although they're basically punting on that opportunity with sitting Joe Burrow this week. 5.5-point dogs against the Browns with a total of just 38. Who do you like here?
Yeah, I'm siding with the dog, Cincinnati. I think that this line is a bit too wide for my liking. I think the biggest takeaway from Monday night, where Baker Mayfield was just literally getting how many 9 sacks, I believe, against the Pittsburgh Steelers. I don't think Kevin Stefanski plans on winning this game. I think he plans on tanking. I think he plans on improving the Browns draft position, which I believe could go up by about 5 spots if certain things break their way. But they're right in the mix to get inside the top 10. And we've seen how analytically driven Stefanski is, how analytically driven this front office is. I think the Browns plan on losing this game. I think they plan on tanking. I don't think they have much interest in winning. Not to mention, this is a very low total, 38. Give me the 5.5 points. The Bengals aren't tanking. They are just sitting their best players. I think that some of these backups are going to be interested in playing in the game. So give me 5.5. Give me the low total. I think that why not sprinkle on the Bengals money line? I don't think the Browns plan on winning this game. I imagine people like Myles Garrett will also sit come Sunday morning with the inactives.
Now you can still sprinkle that number 1 seed carrot ahead of some of these Bengals backups in that game as well. For Cleveland, their season is done. Interesting line, interesting decision there. I'm going to go with another AFC North matchup for my best bet of the week in my early lean. I like the Ravens to cover the 5.5 at home against the Steelers. Consider both of these teams are kind of on the outside looking in. They're not completely mathematically eliminated just yet. I'll give the edge to the home team in Baltimore. They've also been on the wrong side of the coin the last several weeks. Think about the first half, all the lucky wins that Baltimore was able to pull off. Well, that's come back and bitten them. Everything has regressed to the mean here in the second half. During this 5-game losing streak, they've covered, though, in 3 of those last 5 games, and 3 of those losses have been by 2 points or less. So they're keeping these games fairly competitive when they really have no business doing so, considering all the injuries and situations that they've dealt with, especially at the quarterback spot and also in their secondary. These guys are still playing hard for John Harbaugh despite these key injuries. I really think they blow out the Steelers this week. Big Ben's final home game was last Monday night. The Steelers were able to get the win. I know that they still have technically something to play for, but you guys saw the numbers. Big Ben threw 46 times in that game for 123 yards. The way you beat Baltimore is going deep down the field, and Big Ben has proven that there's no capability for him to be able to do that anymore. So there's just no weakness right now for Baltimore to be able to try to slow down Ben Roethlisberger. He's already going to be slowed down enough as it is. I like Baltimore to cover this number, play hard in that final game of the regular season, especially at home against Pittsburgh. Another strong week for us last week, 2-1 against the spread. That brings our total to 43, 41-0. Against the spread overall. For even more conversation on week 18, make sure you guys check us out over at fansided.com/betsided and on social media as well by following us at BetSided on Twitter, TikTok, and Instagram.